Hey, what's up, YouTube? Um, Firstly, I just want to say this is my first and only YouTube video, so it would be greatly appreciated if there wouldn't be any negative comments about how I screw up any, like, speech stuff or, like, there's pauses when I speak because I'm not used to this, and I don't think I'll ever be used to it. And I'm never going to do this again. So probably hater comments would be greatly appreciated if they weren't there. So be a caring commenter. And please, if you have any constructive criticism, not on the presentation itself, just on what I'm talking about, the material, that would be appreciated. So hope you guys enjoy. Firstly, if you haven't played the game Braid, I would highly recommend you go out. Well, you don't go out. You just go online, buy the game, play it. It's amazing. Probably one of my favorite video games on the computer I have played ever. Yeah, so thumbs up to that. If you have played the game, then you're in the right place. The ending of the game is, I believe, meant to be more or less an open ending. But a lot of people put forth a theory of that the ending has to do with the Manhattan Project, which originally I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool, and I wanted to find more theories to the ending. But every single person agrees that it's about the Manhattan Project, which I don't think that's what the game developers' original intent was, that a bunch of people would agree on one theory to the open ending. So what I'm here to do, by the way, if you haven't heard that theory, I'll put a little link into the description about what that's all about. And before you watch the video, maybe check that out, or if you already know what it's all about, then just go ahead. What I'm going to try to do is disprove that theory, firstly. Secondly, I'm going to try to put forth my own theory, but really, it's nothing huge. Firstly, just a little background information. The Manhattan Project started in 1939 and ended, well, the bomb went off in 1945. So arguably the game setting would take place in the 1940s if it had to do with the Manhattan Project, which I don't believe it does. Firstly, the house itself looks very modern. If not in the 2000s, then at least in the 90s. I don't think this is like a 1940s, 50s style house. Braid, not Braid, Tim, I'm sorry, I always confuse the two things. Tim, he looks to be about 19 to 30. The game never explicitly says, but he just looks like a young man. And to say really a young man would work on something like the Manhattan Project, I think is a little far-fetched. Let's see. Oh yeah. If you notice in the house, in the room that actually follow Braid around, because I'll put him in the room where the things I'm talking about, the little computer. Personal computers were not on the commercial market until the 1970s. Granted, in order to work on the Manhattan Project, he would have to be pretty high class, and he might have been able to afford something like that, but it's very unlikely that he would have a computer like that. And even if he did, it would probably be much, much more bulky, and it's unlikely he would put it in his house. It would probably be in an office somewhere, so that is sort of one disproof that the game would take place in the 1940s or 50s. Secondly, we'll just go over here. if you notice way up, there's two speakers and a little like control thing for speakers. Uh, Granted that speakers were around for the 1940s and actually even earlier. They were pretty like how do I put this, ugly looking, and speakers that had that design weren't around until like the 1980s. So more than likely, the game does not take place in the 1940s with speakers like that. Now, that is the first two history things you may like disagree about, but the next thing, the Etch-a-Sketch, which is right above Tim's head. The Etch-a-Sketch was first on the market in 1960. Now, even if the computer he had because he was high class and the speakers he had because he was high class, it's unlikely that it's actually impossible that anyone, no matter how rich you were, had an Etch-a-Sketch during the 1940s. Now, some people might say, well, it's the game itself is him looking back on the experiences and regretting it. But firstly, right now, at latest, he looks at like 30. If he's looking back 20 years, again, he would have to work on the Manhattan Project when he was 10, which is not true. Last, if you look in the painting, you see a little like TV there. It's unlikely that someone would have a TV in the 1940s, or even a TV, well, not have a TV, but like, how do I put this? Have a TV in their room, because TVs were very expensive. They were much bigger, and a TV like that wouldn't exist until like the 1950s, which, again, that proof is a lesser proof. The biggest proof I would have to say is the Etch-a-Sketch. One last thing, I was debating whether or not I should put this in because there's going to be a lot of people who want to disagree about this, but the lamps, as I said, the house has a more modern outlook. The lamps, the style of the lamps in this game are like more modern, like that lamp, and the lamp up here, that lamp, which people might say that's not completely true, which probably isn't, but that's just more like some icing on the cake. Also, he dresses very modern in every single one of the pictures, especially the one right under his feet. Now, that was the whole stuff about disproving the Manhattan Project. I sort of put together my own half-assed theory, which isn't anything great. If you have your own theory, put it in the comments, please. Greatly appreciated. My theory is that he is an insane person. If you read through the books at the end, in one of the books, I don't know which one. I'm sorry, couldn't find which one had it. But in one of the books, he said that he dissected a rat. Most sane people do not dissect rats. Just fun fact for you. Oh, there it is. He cut rats into pieces, examining their brains, and planted tungsten posts into their skulls of water-starved monkeys. Most sane people do not dissect rats. Fun fact. Now, a lot of people talked about the quote, "Now we are all sons of bitches," which is from a person who worked on the Manhattan Project. But my theory still has a whole like bomb in it. But what the theory is that Braid is a stalker who is insane, and when the princess, quote unquote, who might be a metaphor for both the bomb and the loved one, it's definitely not literal princess. When the princess does not love him back, he goes insane. And in the last level, or debatably the first level because it's technically Act 1, once you finish it, it rewinds it to show the true stuff, where he's stalking her, and then she goes and gets help, which is pretty much he's a crazy bad guy stalker. And actually, if you get all the stars, which I don't recommend you do because it's much, much tedious work for a slightly different ending, you somewhat like blow her up, which my theory behind that is he goes insane, and when the princess, quote unquote, does not like him back, he either gets like maybe pipe bombs or flamethrowers or maybe grenades, some sort of destructive work, and he winds up killing her and setting Manhattan on fire. So according to my theory, this takes place in either like an alternate universe or not so distant future. Also, notice this whole I'm sorry, I have a little cough. This little castle thing. If you notice, above all levels, they would have little like pictures like this. So pretty much what this is saying, in my theory, is that he's taking his problems and masking himself off from the world. He's making his own castle off of the problems he had. And he just pretty much watches Manhattan burn down like an insane person. And that's pretty much it. It's half-ass. It's not really that well thought through, but I feel it has less holes than the Manhattan theory idea. Well, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please put your own theory in the comments. If you have any constructive criticism on my ideas of how I disproved the Manhattan Project ideal, please put them. Like, favorite this video, share it with your friends. Definitely, I want to get this to be like pretty popular because I hate how many people just undoubtedly trust the Manhattan theory. Like it's the one and only theory. Like I believe that the game's ending is supposed to be open, where there's supposed to be people who take away their own theory from it. I'm sorry, I've just had a psycho moment. Thanks for watching. Well, thanks, guys. Is there anything else I have to say? I feel like I wanted to say something more. Yeah, so thumbs up. Feel free to post this on like threads of Braid or whatever. I'm not really good with that stuff, so maybe put out the word. If you want to claim this theory as your own, like feel free. Maybe just put this video like